Come back to the Royalty for a rove around. Try 2 or 3 swims, see what I can catch. Tackling up with a John Dean stick float with my Allerton stick float rod, Mitchell match, 6 number 4 float. I've got some hempen tears and it's nice conditions. Started trotting a glide fairly close in, nice steady current. The tide's fairly well up, it's not a big tide. And almost straight away I'm into a dace. Nothing very big, but it's a start. There's a few sea trout around, you can see them here, flopping around. And they're all over the river basically. But they shouldn't affect my fishing. I'm very unlikely to catch one on tears. I think I hooked one once on the Stour on a tear, but more likely to get them if I fished with maggots. Case of feeding away every cast, trotting gently down. Slight downstream wind, which isn't ideal but not too bad. And here's the first of the roach, quite a nice stamp, lovely Avon roach. Perfect condition. That's how they should be. No need for keep nets on this river. Fairly quick response on this swim. Whether that's a good sign or not, I don't know. The river's quite wide here, just above the bypass, and the roach are probably spread right across the river. So probably lots of little shoals rather than one big shoal. Just let that stick float go down, mend the line because of that little breeze downriver. Every cast, a few more grains of hemp. And up pops another roach, slightly bigger this time. Again, a gorgeous fish. After a short time on the stick float, I had 3 roach on it and a dace. Switched to a little insert waggler, homemade, little swivel at the bottom. Takes about 3 BB with a couple of 8s down the line. Still the size 16 barbless hook. And that gives me just that little bit of shot down the line. A different presentation, a bit much lighter presentation than the stick, which was possibly a bit on the heavy side. I had 6 number 4s to counteract that downstream breeze. Prevailing wind on here is really a southwesterly, which is upstream and off your back on this bit of water, but just lately we've had northerlies. I've set up the waggler on a different rod. It's on my Normark Titan 2000, lovely rod. Soon catching roach again on the waggler. Float settles fairly quickly, goes down quite a way with the weight of the tears, almost like a number 8 on there. So need to allow for that. Trying to cast right out into the middle just to see if I get a bite out there. I haven't fed out there. And after travelling about 4 yards, the float's gone under, and this feels very, very different to any roach I've ever encountered. Much, much bigger fish. And it's soon apparent exactly what it is. There's always been bream in this area, and that's what I've hooked. A good sizable slab. And it's just a question of steady pressure. Doesn't do anything very spectacular at all, and just easing it across the current. It's not going to come in quickly, you don't need to scull drag it in, just get it swimming my direction, away from the weed beds, which are dotted around all over the swim. And it's not very long before it's ready for the net. But it's a nice bonus fish. Hoping at this point that it doesn't fall off, otherwise I have nothing to show you. And of course, having seen the net, it decides to start waking up, but not for long. Steady with the net. And now it shows more liveliness on the bank than off. Good 4-pound fish, perfect condition. Everything's covered in slime, including the landing net and me. I just slip it back. Well, that bream was on its own. I didn't get any more. 1 or 2 more roach after that. And I've moved 20 yards closer to the bridge. It's a bit shallower, maybe a foot shallower, more like 3 foot of water instead of 4 foot. And there's a nice pacey bit of water close in. The river narrows slightly as it gets to the bridge. Sticking with the waggler. It takes a little while before they respond. Just a question of getting the depth right. Keep the feeding up. Little wagglers like this are ideal for fishing shallow water. The strike's pretty quiet compared to a stick float. After about 20 minutes, the roach finally turned up. Ended up with 3 and 3 casts, but that was it. It didn't really get going. Whether if I'd really stuck at this swim and maybe tried hemp on the hook with a smaller hook, might have got a few more, I don't know. But the idea was to rove around a bit, try some different swims. This third one was a bit better. Best roach of the day so far. There we are, just over half a pound. Not a bad size of fish at all. With that, the roach disappeared and all I could get was a couple of little chub like this. Very big at all. Time for a move back towards the main car park, where there's an interesting sort of corner with some pacier water coming down from the left there, and some slack and a sort of back eddy. Quite a lot of cabbages, lilies, lots of dace, and if I can find them, some roach. Started off getting the dace for a while. For a little while the small dace and bleak were knocking the tear off the hook as soon as it touched the water, but didn't take long for the better fish to turn up. This is a sort of swim you need to explore a bit, trying to find out where the better fish are. Down amongst that weed there's some silver bream, and this is one of them. There's a few dotted around on the royalty if you can find them, usually near the weeds, and they're not very big, about 5 inches long. After fishing for half an hour, finally something a bit better, a better roach. Roach are finally showing properly. Not long to go now. So it's been quite a nice session fishing. Nice dull day with good light for fishing. This is the best roach of the day. Good 3/4 of a pound. With that bream, about 15 other roach, some dace, chublets and the silver bream. A nice mixed bag of 3 or 4 different swims. So that's it for this one, and it's goodbye for now.